Welcome to Broken Trust Stories. If you love crazy, unbelievable stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out. My cheating wife left Maine for an NFL star, so I took brutal revenge and got away with it. I'm Tom Joad, and my wife is Linda. I'm just 5'5" and weigh 165, but I have my strengths. We met in college when I was 23 and she 21. I was in the Army, taking classes to get a dual degree in economics and accounting. She was a biology major. My Army work was intermittent, but dangerous. Our unit was assigned to accomplish discrete missions, often involving punishment of someone ostensibly a friend. In short, we were assassins. My specialty was planning in close combat. I graduated at 25 years old, and 2 years later I resigned from the Army and married Linda. 2 kids came along in 4 years, both girls. I was working for myself doing accounting for some local businesses and also was trading commodities from home. Linda was busy with the kids, but when we had been married 10 years, she got work at a local laboratory connected to the college. Both girls were in school, and I was working from home so she could get back to work, which she liked. We were living in the house that I grew up in. I had owned it since my parents moved to Florida, and I bought it from them when I was still in school. Some of our Army missions gave the unit a chance at some loot, which we split up 10 ways. So I had money when the chance to buy came up. One February, Linda and I went out with our neighborhood friends for dancing. She looked gorgeous. We had a great meal and a lot of fun dancing at the club when a party of 6 came in. One of them was a big blonde guy, Marc Stevens, who was an all-pro linebacker for the local team. He was immediately noticed by all the women at our table. Stevens was with a lovely blonde woman who wore what looked like a big engagement ring. They danced well together. Our friend June said she was a cheerleader for the team, engaged to Stevens. After they had been there some time, I noticed Stevens looking at our table. He got up and walked toward us. He immediately focused on Linda and just asked her to dance without even looking at me. I put my hand on her arm to stop her, but she got up from the table and went with him. She didn't look back at me at all. I was more than a little annoyed. I was even more annoyed when, after 2 fast dances, a slow number came on and Linda melted into Mark's arms. I got up and walked to the bar right past them. The women at our table didn't like that and made it clear. But I went anyway. Not that it made any difference to Linda, who never noticed me walk by. I got a coffee. When the slow number ended, the 2 of them separated and Linda walked back toward our table. I stayed at the bar drinking my coffee. I saw her look around for me and see me over there. She looked a bit flustered. She sat next to June. I walked over, and as I approached, the 2 of them got up. I said, "Did you have your fun?" "Sorry. Maybe I got a little carried away." "Maybe so." June cut in, "Tom, it was just a little dancing, nothing much." "I thought it was insulting to me," I said. I sat down. "June and I are going to the ladies' room." "We'll be right back," Linda said. They left, and so did Mark, walking out the front without the blonde. June came back, but Linda wasn't with her. I asked, "Where is she?" "Tom, Linda isn't here now. She went with Mark." "You're kidding." I ran out front and saw Linda get into a red Escalade. The car pulled off. I went back to the table. June was speaking to the rest. "Did all of you know what she was doing?" June said, "Tom, you need to let her have this night. She'll come back to you tomorrow." "No, I don't need her to come back. Let her know that when you talk to her, we're finished." There was a general hubbub at the table when I said that. They all thought I was being too harsh. So I barked at them, "I don't want to have anything to do with any of you anymore. You all knew and no one warned me, so I could maybe stop her. Now, she's going to lose everything for a night of romantic involvement." I walked toward the coat check desk, but I saw the blonde at the table with the other 4 that came with Stevens. She was crying. I walked over. "Are you his girlfriend?" "Yes, I was his girl." "Not now, though." "Where did they go?" "To our house on Cherry Lane." He said he would never do this once we were engaged. I'm sorry, was that your wife? Is the operative word there, I said. He'll be finished with her in the morning and drive her home. He likes to gloat at the husband. What an arsehole. At that, the other two guys, both big, one black, one white, took offense. I ignored them. I gave May my business card and told her to give me a call. She smiled, but she was crying. I walked away. I got my coat, but left Linda's. I went to the hotel room and took my case, but left Linda's. I checked out. As I drove home, a fully formed plan came to me. This had happened to me while I was serving. It's why I was alive now. Too bad a plan hadn't occurred to me before Linda left. I pulled my car into the garage, went inside and engaged the security system. I went downstairs and retrieved a rope I had stored there for some years. Then I went upstairs and took off my clothing and jogged to the second floor. I got a black Under Armour suit, a black hoodie and dark gray sweatpants. I put on some old sneakers and 2 sets of gloves. I also got a baklava mask. I put it all on and climbed up to the attic with the rope. I fastened it securely to a beam, as I had done when I lived there as a kid. I climbed out of the narrow window and bounced down the side of the house. There was nothing but a wooded area on that side. I ran and hopped the side fence, down the path to the rear workshop. I let myself in and got a backpack, some extra wool socks, a penknife, and an old hand axe that I had deep in a toolbox. I stored all that in the backpack. Then I got my bike and left, pedaling away toward the river, through some woods. I went across the river bridge and up toward Cherry Street. I saw the house with the football statue and a red Escalade parked in front. I took the axe and knife, jumped the fence and jogged past this FE. I used the axe to break the passenger side window. The alarm sounded. Then I jumped to the porch and hid behind a pillar near the door. I didn't have to wait long. The lights went on and the door opened. Arsehole poked his head out and used the key fob to stop the alarm. He stepped outside. He had a semi-automatic pistol. I dealt with him with 2 blows of the axe. I returned and closed the front door. I turned and jogged off. I jumped the stone wall and returned to my bike. I took the wool socks out and put the axe, knife, gloves, and shoes inside the backpack, zipped it up. I mounted up and rode away toward the river. When I got near the bridge, I stopped and tossed the entire backpack as far out into the river as I could, which was pretty far. There had been a rain the day before, and the river was moving fast. I rode my bike back toward home and through the nearby woods to the workshop. I let myself inside. I took off the socks and put on another pair of sneakers. I sprayed the bike handles and pedals with an ammonia solution and wiped them. Then I jogged back, hopped the side fence, and climbed back up the side of the house. That wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, but I made it and scrambled through the small window. I pulled up the rope and wound it up. I wiped down the windowsill with a rag and trotted down to the basement with the rope. I took off all my clothing, including the mask and undergloves, and put them into the washer. Then I showered in the basement bathroom for some time, washing everything twice. Once that was done, I put on a pair of exercise shorts and went upstairs. I left the door open to the basement so I could hear when the washer stopped. I thought about it and put on the clothing I had worn to the club the night before. I went back down to the basement and transferred the wet clothing to the dryer. I went upstairs and made a snack and had a shot of whiskey. Then I sat for a while, thinking things through again. When the dryer stopped, I took the clothes upstairs and put them away into their spots. The baklava mask went up into the back of the closet, where I had it stored to begin with. I looked at the clock. It was 2:50 a.m. The whole thing, from when I went into the house from the club, started at midnight. I went downstairs and sat on the couch and had another whiskey. I fell asleep. I was awakened by the door chime at 6:02 a.m. I looked at the door camera display and saw 2 people, an African-American woman and a white guy with a crew cut. Cops. The doorbell rang again, and I opened it. "Who are you?" "You look like police," I said. "I'm Detective Asper, and this is Detective Logan," the black woman said. They flashed their badges. I put on an uncertain face. Is it Linda? He didn't hurt her, did he? No, she hasn't been physically injured. But Mr. Stevens has been attacked. May we come inside? Sure. Where's Linda? Did you bring her? The white detective said, no, sir, she's in hospital being treated for shock. I paused for a second. I just looked at them. And they just looked at me. Have a seat, I said, indicating the couch. But they sat apart in two straight-back chairs, so I used the couch. I think you should explain what happened, I said. What have you done since your wife left the club with Stevens? This was Logan again. Just tell me what happened. Okay. Asper answered, no, you should just answer the question. I went to our hotel room, got my stuff, checked out and drove here. I drank myself to sleep on this couch. You woke me up. Is anyone else here? No, kids are at a sitter for the night. Did you make any calls? Email anyone you know to prove you were here. Nope, but I never left. Asper looked around. I see you have a security system. What does it cover? Covers all the doors. I think I can show you I was here. Come upstairs. They followed me to the upstairs office, and I sat at the computer desk. I showed them the system, and they watched me download the data from 6 p.m. to when they arrived. I gave them a jump drive. The system was focused on all three doors: front, side, and patio sliding door to the pool area. The side that I had come down had no door, faced the woods, and had two large windows, but neither opened, so there was no coverage. We're going to have to take that computer, Logan said. Why? You watched me download the security data. Because you might have messed with it before we got here. Okay, but I can't have it gone for more than a day. It's a work computer, and I need it. I have a replacement, but it won't do for long. Watch me. I'm going to download some stuff onto this external drive, including what I just gave to you. And I did that. They asked to look around, and I let them, but I insisted that they stay together, and with me. They took some pictures and then left. It was 7:10 a.m. I called Linda's parents. They were John and Stephanie, and lived in the next neighborhood over, but they were at their lake house then. I told them what had happened, and that the police said Linda was in hospital in shock. John was really taken aback by what Linda had done. Stephanie, maybe not so much. Stephanie asked, "Are you going to see her?" "No, sorry, that's why I called you. I really don't want to have anything to do with her after what she did. It's a bad break that the guy was attacked, but that's not on me. Apparently he's done this sort of thing many times. When she gets out of the hospital, she needs to stay away from me and the house. We can make arrangements for her stuff to get transferred." John said, "Why don't you move and she stay? The kids have lived there all their lives." "It's my house. It's not community property." John was a lawyer, and I guessed he'd try to finagle something. "We'd just have to see." He said, "That's pretty harsh, Tom." "Not as harsh as what she did to me." That ended the conversation. Then I called my folks in Florida. I told them what had happened, as much as I could. They also were shocked by Linda's behavior. My dad had the TV on, and he told me there was a headline about Stevens. It said he was attacked and killed at his home. Not news to me. The phone rang landline. It was Judy. "Tom, where's Linda? We heard that Marc was killed." "She's in hospital with shock. I'm told by the police." "Have you seen her? Which hospital?" "I don't know. I don't plan on seeing her." "Don't be like that. She needs your support." "She'll never have any support from me. I don't care that her big night was ruined if it was ruined." "I'm going to go see her." "You're a pig. Did you kill Marc?" "Nope, but I'm not sorry about it. Good riddance." Judy hung up. I showered again and got dressed to go pick up the kids from the sitter. It was about 0800. When I got there, They had not heard anything about the evening's activities. We went home, and they wanted to know where Linda was. I said, "She won't be here today, I think. She has something she has to do. We'll just get on with the day. Get dressed for soccer." I took them to the soccer complex, where their games were at noon and 1:30. I was pretty relaxed watching them play. Michelle, the youngest, was pretty good. Laura not so much, but she tried hard and it was good exercise. After the games ended, we got ice cream and went home. There were some messages on my cell phone. I had it on mute while I was out with the girls. One was from Linda's parents, telling me she was at St. Jude's Hospital and was non-communicative. One was from a doctor at the hospital asking me to call her. One was from Judy telling me Linda was with the police and wasn't talking to anyone. She said I should probably cool off and bring the girls to see her. I called the girls downstairs and told them that their mom was in the hospital and that she was not injured but was emotionally damaged by something from last night. They wanted to know what happened. I told them, "Your mom went off with a famous football player to his house to have romantic involvement last night. There's no other way to say this. I thought about keeping it from you, but I figured you'd find out. When she was there, someone attacked the football guy, but apparently not her. But she must have found him or something because she is in the hospital in shock." They weren't sure if they wanted to go see her, but I told them to get dressed and we would go. I called the doctor back, Dr. Laura Thompson. She said Linda was traumatized and at the moment was catatonic. I asked her about bringing the kids. She hesitated. The doctor asked, "Are you going to see her?" "I really don't want to see her at all. I assume you know why. But I can bring the girls if you think it might help." "Do they know what happened?" "I mean about the surrounding circumstances." "You mean about the romantic involvement between Linda and the football guy?" "Yes," I told them. "They are dressed and ready to come there if you think it might help Linda." "Okay, I'll meet you at room 311 in 30 minutes, she said. We went there. Dr. Thompson was in her late 30s, and her specialty was as a psychiatrist. We spoke for a brief time, and then she spoke to the girls. She said that their mother had had a real shock, and that she seemed unaware of her surroundings. She said that seeing the girls might help. Did they want to see her? They did. I accompanied them to the door and peered in. Linda was sitting in a bed, staring at a TV with cartoons. The girls walked up to her, tentatively. Laura, the oldest, touched hand and called her mom. Shelley followed, but there was no reaction. Shelley started to cry. I went to her, picked her up, looked at Linda. Nothing. I took Laura's hand and walked them out. Well, we tried, I said. Will she wake up, Laura asked. Sure, sometime, I said. Maybe you can visit her again soon. Maybe when she comes around you can see her. What if she doesn't wake up, Shelley whispered. I was reassuring, she will, I know it. Maybe slowly. The doctor said, girls, I will surely let you know when she comes back from this. We left the hospital. The girls were both crying in the car. Maybe I shouldn't have taken them. I just wanted to see Linda and see if their presence would help. Despite my callous reaction to her infidelity, I hadn't wished this upon her. I felt bad about it, although she deserved to suffer. Not like this, though. I felt some tears on my cheeks. When we got home, I made up some eggs and toast for them to eat. I intentionally got them involved in the cooking, pretending I needed help. It seemed to cheer them up to be able to boss me around. Then I put on a movie for them. I went into my office and called a friend of mine to see if I could get some information on what happened at Stevens' house after I left. He was a public defender and very good at it. He said that I would not be able to get the police reports. But he had an idea ambulance runs reports were publicly available. I asked him to get that, if he could, and we hung up. I went into the living room and watched the movie, absently, thinking through what might happen. In an hour, my lawyer friend called back. He said he had emailed me the ambulance run, and it was pretty bad. I told him about the police visit. He said that if the security showed no one coming or going, I probably didn't have to worry. But he also said that the police might get a search warrant or want to talk to me again. He recommended a lawyer to me, if needed. I thought that I did not need a lawyer, but I called the woman anyway, after I saw the ambulance report. Police had found Linda with Stevens' head cradled in her lap. She had blood all over her, dressed in just a thin robe. She was chanting, "No, no, no, no," over and over. The police gathered her up and put her into the ambulance. She had been unresponsive when the ambulance got there, and all the way to the hospital. An officer had ridden along with her, asking if she saw who did it, but he got no response. I was sickened by this, and it made me wonder if she would ever recover. I looked up PTSD. I had looked it up before for me. I looked up shock-induced catatonic state. It seemed as if people normally recovered from the catatonic state, but might be affected for years by the PTSD. The lawyer Joan Drake made an appointment for me to see her that Monday morning at 0930. She gave me her cell number in case police came earlier. They didn't. The girls and I spent Sunday lounging around, with me trying to reassure them that Linda would return sooner or later, but may still need our help. As for me, I wondered what her reaction to me might be, when she had one. I was pretty sure she hadn't seen anything, and if she did see something, it would only have been a person all in black, with a mask. But maybe she would make an assumption about me doing that. I didn't know. I didn't think she had any experience of me that would allow her to seriously think I would be capable of doing what, in fact, I did do. Monday, I got the girls off to school. I had monitored coverage of Stevens' killing on the local news. Linda's name had not been mentioned, but it was said that Stevens had been hosting a married woman when he was attacked just outside his home. Police were called by a neighbor in response to Linda's screaming. So far, no one other than the authorities had connected Linda or me with the murder, but I thought that would change in time. Joan Drake was a nifty-looking blonde of maybe 45 years. She was also quite sharp, just as my friend said. I told her the story from the start and gave her a copy of the ambulance report. She was appalled. She stared at me. I looked back at her and simply said that police had a copy of the security video and that it had not been tampered with, and showed absolutely no one coming or going between when I arrived home and when the police came. I asked her to get my computer back, because I needed it for work. I gave her a retainer and listened as she called the police station and asked for Detective Asper. "Hi, Detective," she said. "It's Joan Drake. I'm calling for Tom Joad. I want to see if I can get his work computer back." "No, I think you've had enough time to see if it had been altered. You know it hasn't." "Okay, I'll send someone tomorrow morning to get it from you." "No, I'll send someone from the office. He won't be coming." I held up my hand. I mouthed, "I'll get it." She nodded. "Okay, he'll be there. 900. When she was off the phone, I told her that I wouldn't talk to the cops and that I'd have a phone with me to record the discussions, if any. I left. That afternoon, the girls got home from school and immediately asked about Linda. I'd called the doctor earlier, and there was no real change. They got busy with their homework. Later, we had pizza delivered. I told them that if their mom didn't come home soon, I'd have to learn how to cook. That got a laugh. But I am really a good cook, just never did it at home much. When her sister went upstairs, Laura asked me if I could forgive Mom for having romantic involvement with another guy. "Maybe," I said. "I really don't know. Right now, I just want her to get better." The landline rang then. It was Jim Beeman from the newspaper. "Mr. Joad?" "Jim Beeman here from the Trib." "Hello. We have information that it was your wife Linda who was with Marc Stevens when he was killed. Can you confirm that?" "I'd like that not to become public. I have 2 youngsters in school, and they'd have to be removed maybe if that came out." Jim said, "So you do confirm that. How do you feel about the death of your wife's lover?" "I see where you're going with this. If something you publish results in some harm to my family, I will act against you in your paper." "This is going to come out, Mr. Joad. I can't help that." I looked out the window and saw a TV truck parked in front of the house. Channel 7. I said, "I see a TV truck. I guess you're right. Shit. Sorry, I have to go." A knock came at the door. I looked at the camera and saw a young woman there with a mic. I spoke over the intercom. "Go away, you're trespassing, and I will call the police. Is your wife there, Mr. Joad?" I called the local precinct and told them I need help getting the press off my front porch. And they did respond and take what was now a group of 6 people off the porch. But they didn't go far. There were 4 trucks now. I called the doctor and told her to get some security on Linda before the press barged in. I spoke to the girls and told them that I thought they might be staying with me at another spot and doing school differently. But they said they wanted to keep going to school, even if they had to live at another place. I said I'd think it over. I called my lawyer, Joan, and asked her advice. She said that she would issue a statement to the press if I wanted, to see if that took the heat off. We arranged that. The statement was issued through her office and said that my family would like to be allowed to go on with daily life. It said that I had no comment on the rumors about my wife and would not have any comment in the future. It said that continued presence of media outside the house would be actionable if it harmed the family, and that we would appreciate it if the trucks left. Meanwhile, dead. Asper and her commander announced a press conference for 7:00 p.m. I watched. The police said that Marc Stevens had been attacked outside his home and killed with some sort of sharp object. It said that while there was a woman inside the house at the time, there was no indication that she witnessed the attack. It said that the investigation was ongoing. The first question was whether the woman was married and if her husband was a suspect. D. Asper said, "Since you all know her name, I assume that you know that she is married, but we have conducted a thorough investigation of him, and there is no indication whatsoever that he was involved in the attack. In fact, he appears to have been at his home all night, some distance away from the scene." A reporter piped up, "What about other women? Married women? Their husbands?" "We have systematically investigated claims that Mr. Stevens regularly seduced married women, and have found that there is some truth to that. In fact, he seems to have spirited several married women off while their husbands were present. So we are investigating that aspect." Commander Johnson interrupted the proceedings. "That's all for now. If we have anything else before our Wednesday briefing, we will let you know." And the police left amid shouting. I made arrangements with the girls' school to have their work dropped off here or sent by computer for the next few days. I called Linda's parents and told them to watch out for the press, but none were there so far. They had also disappeared from our street. On Tuesday, the doctor called and said that Linda had become responsive and that the police were with her. I told her parents, and I packed up the girls to take them to the hospital. By the time we got there, the police were just leaving. Dead. Asper said that she'd like to talk to me when we finished seeing her. I said okay. Linda seemed dazed still. She greeted the girls with a smile and hugged them. But she really didn't look at me. The girls told her about the TV trucks and about school, but Linda then seemed to doze off. And the doctor said we should let her sleep. Her parents were outside and spoke to the girls while I went to Det. Asper. "She seems to be on the way back," said Asper. "Maybe. Don't know really. Are you going to take her home?" "Until she recovers, and then I'm sure we'll be separated." Asper said, "I think you should cut her a break. What more punishment could she get than what happened?" "Not a matter of punishment. It's a matter of respect and trust. I'll never trust her, and I'll never respect her. And she may never respect me either." Asper smiled. "She might fear you. She might not trust you either. You're just trying to bait me. You know full well I had nothing to do with Stevens getting attacked. I know you have an army background. I know that your reputation in the service was formidable. So maybe some regular guy couldn't have done this, but maybe you could have done it. I didn't. Period. We have home security video from Stevens' house, you know. Not my problem. I wasn't there. Seeing you around it came out like a threat. Linda gradually regained some semblance of normal behavior in the next few days. I took the girls each day, but didn't spend much time in the room with them. On the fourth day, Linda was to be discharged. She asked to speak to me alone, and I sent the girls out. "I'm sorry for what I did, embarrassing you like that." "I don't think an apology will cut it, Linda. I can't tell you how demeaning to me it was. Now it's national news. I'd like to come home when I get released this afternoon." She sat up on the bed and moved to a chair. "Can I come home? You know, there are media and they'll follow you out of here. I don't want the girls' lives disrupted any further. Maybe I can sneak out." I took a long look at her. Then, "You're good at sneaking out, for sure." She didn't look up. I said, "I'll check with security. I can't say that I want to be around you, but maybe for now I have little choice. I didn't mean for you to be hurt. I thought you loved me and could get past it. Or, really, I didn't think about that at all." "Did he sleep with you?" "No, we were naked in the bed when the commotion started." I stared at her and knew full well she was lying. "See, I can't say I believe you or would believe anything you told me. Really, I can't ever trust you again, but we can see how things go." "Okay, I love you." I just turned and walked out. I went to the hospital security office and arranged for a car to pick Linda up behind the building and take her to my house. That was set up for 400 p.m. It went off without a hitch, and she arrived home about 4:45. The kids and her parents were there with me. I had set up a bed in my office for myself. Linda would sleep in our room. The rest of the day was very awkward, to say the least. Her parents didn't quite know how to approach the whole situation. Linda and her mom and the kids played Monopoly in the living room. Her dad wanted to talk, and so we went to the patio. John asked, "What are you going to do, Tom?" "I don't really know, but the odds are that we're finished." "You should try to forgive. You've loved each other for so long, and you have a wonderful family." "I know, but I am questioning whether we actually have loved each other for so long. If she loved me, she would never have done that." "She said they didn't have intercourse." "That's what she said. How am I to know? She was there with him quite a while." "Does it really make any difference? She would have done it, and we all know that." "Well, it might make a difference if he didn't use protection. She might have a disease or be pregnant." The thought didn't please him. "For now she can stay here, but you might want to look for some other solution soon." We went back inside and all ate pizza. Her parents went home. As far as I know, they did not discuss the Marc stuff with her. As we were putting the girls to bed, Laura asked Linda why she went to have romantic involvement with Marc. "I'm so sorry. I was weak and wrong. But I don't understand. He's just a football player. I looked him up. He's not our daddy." "No, he's not. I'll talk to you about his later, when I figure out more." The girls went to bed, and Linda went downstairs to the kitchen. I followed about 10 minutes later. Meanwhile, I made a call to my public defender friend and asked him about the autopsy report. He said it was also a public document, and I asked him to get it if he could. Linda was drinking a Pepsi. She had been discouraged from alcohol because it might cause her to relapse. She asked, "Are you sleeping in our room?" "No, the office." "Well, you're welcome anytime. We'll just have to see. Right now I don't see a way forward for us, but this all just happened this week. I can be patient." "Really?" I hadn't noticed. I climbed up to my office and went to bed. I didn't sleep so well and got up at 5:00 a.m. I made coffee. My buddy had sent me a copy of Stevens' autopsy, fresh off the presses. I read it carefully, especially the analysis of the injuries. The maid had swabbed his penis. She found evidence of female excretions. Samples were sent for lab analysis. It sure looked as if Linda had lied when she said they hadn't had intercourse. I never believed that. because of the timing. She'd been there for about 2 hours before the killing. When she came down, we got the girls off to school, almost like normal. They were a bit subdued, though, when I drove them. I spent a good amount of time reviewing my options. If it hadn't been for Linda's illness, I would never have let her back into the house. But there were advantages to allowing that, including making things a little easier on the girls, if things settled down. Just as I came into the house, another TV truck pulled up outside and a young woman got out and shouted at me, asking if Linda was at home and if I forgave her. I smiled, waved, and warned her not to come onto the property. I went inside. Linda had made some biscuits and offered me one, which I took. There's a TV truck outside. They don't know you're here, and maybe they shouldn't. What do they want? They already published my name and what I was doing at his house. Can they do any more harm? I'm sure they can think of something. I looked at her. I've been considering what to do about you, or about us. I'd like you to write down for me exactly what happened last Friday, from when the jerk walked up to us until you were in the hospital. It doesn't have to be right now, but soon if possible. If it's too traumatic, skip part and come back later. I'll try. I also have to call work and see if I still have a job. Why would they fire you? For cheating on me? Why would they care? Well, I've been off for a week. Linda arranged to use sick and vacation leave, then spent time typing at her desk while I reviewed the autopsy details. After 2 days, the test results came in, confirming her DNA on Stevens, proving she lied about the encounter. I waited to see her written account, but I knew I couldn't continue life with her as my wife. After dinner the next day, Linda came into my home office. I finished writing. Here she handed me a printout. I read what she wrote. Tom, I'm so sorry for my weakness. When Marc asked me to dance, I was thrilled and completely drawn to him. He told me to slip out the side door, promising an unforgettable experience, and I went with him. At his place, we were intimate twice. Just as we finished, his car alarm went off. He told me to wait, but when I looked out, I saw someone in black running away. I found Marc lying in the driveway, his head bashed in. Overwhelmed with guilt, I barely remember anything until I woke up in the hospital. I'm so sorry for it all. I love you and I don't know why I did what I did. Linda. I looked up at her. She had tears running down her face. Tom, were you the person who I saw? I was here all night drinking, regretting the end of my marriage and the changes that had to come with my family. I had hate, but surely the police told you that I was here. They have the security tape. That's what they said when I asked. But. No buts. I can tell you that I believe Stevens got what he deserved. No, Tom. He didn't deserve that. He was nice. And he rocked your world, eh? Tom, we don't need to go there. Why not? I want you to know that I will never be able to love you again. Not like I did. Maybe not at all. The person I thought I married would never have done what you did. Was it worth it? Was the night worth everything you lost? What he lost? You know, the night was really spectacular, but not worth what happened. If we could have had the night, and me come home the next day, well, maybe. But he's dead, and I'm screwed up for good. Yep. You killed him, she turned and ran out of the room. No, you killed him, I muttered. After that, our relationship became cold. I chose not to prove my innocence or reconcile with her. I'd never admit what happened, knowing she'd likely go to the cops if she found out. She'd even hinted that, if Stevens hadn't been stopped, her reckless night would have been worth it. A few weeks later, I filed for divorce, requesting custody so the kids could stay in the house. Since Linda had her job, I asked for no alimony or child support, just liberal visitation. Once she recovered enough, I insisted she move out, and she went to her parents' house. After being served, her father called, asking me to withdraw the papers, saying Linda was distraught. I told him that she deserved to be distraught, and she should get a lawyer. He was quite angry, but I didn't know if he was angry with me or her. He asked about visitation, and I told him that she could come over any night and stay until they went to bed. Linda was over the next day at 500. I had cooked macaroni and cheese and we ate with the girls. We played some board games with them and put them to bed. After that, Linda wanted to talk, but I didn't. We need to work this out, Tom. It won't be good for the girls for us to be apart. They'll have to adjust. You can get a place where they can visit. The sooner we work out the divorce, the sooner you can have a visitation schedule. Please, I don't want a divorce. I made a mistake. Okay, a big mistake, but I love you. No way we stay married after you openly sleep with that arsehole. Forget it and move on. Linda began tearing up, not sobbing, but just quietly crying. I did feel sorry for her, but not sorry enough to change my mind. We were toast. The divorce went through, and we arranged joint custody. Linda got an apartment with a second bedroom for the girls, and we maintained a cordial, distant relationship focused on co-parenting. 4 months later, I started dating casually, though none of the flings lasted. I avoided married women, feeling it was wrong after my experience. Linda was attentive with the girls but struggled alone, often taking antidepressants and sleeping a lot. She kept up with work but, according to her parents and the girls, wasn't dating. 10 years on. Shelley went off to college today. Laura was to go to her junior year. The two of them had gotten used to the joint custody arrangement and seemed to do quite well. They both dated in high school and, I assume, in college for Laura. I began a long-term relationship with Cody, a 35-year-old divorced woman I met at a bar. She had twin high schoolers, and after they went to college, she moved in with me. I loved her lively spirit and intelligence, and we shared a strong connection. Though not as striking as Linda, Cody was attractive and drew attention when we went out. I told her soon after we met about all the hullabaloo surrounding Marc Stevens' death. Of course, I never let on how he had died. The publicity eventually died down and no one was ever arrested or charged. One Saturday, Detective Logan showed up at my house and I invited him in. I was home by myself. I retired last week. Good pension, he said. I'm happy for you. But why are you here? I just want you to know that I became convinced that you killed that arsehole. He deserved it. Maybe not your wife, though. I didn't do it. But he definitely deserved it. Whoever did it, I applaud. Why do you think Linda didn't? Well, it was just one night. She did what a lot of married women did when he came around. If they'd snuck off privately to make out, maybe I could have forgiven her. But it was so blatant. I get it, he replied. How's your partner? She's a captain now, real go-getter. She was sharp, I said. We shook hands, and he left. As for Linda, she made a partial recovery. Once, while I drove her to drop Shelley at school, I asked how she was doing. I'm okay, she said. I have a boyfriend now, more of a friend with benefits. And I know you and Cody are together. Yes, when her kids are off to college, we might move in together. Linda whispered, I wish all of this hadn't happened. We'd be empty nesters by now. Could have had some real fun. I'm so sorry. So am I, we both teared up. Later, Linda moved into a friend's apartment, but she never fully recovered from that night. And maybe I didn't either. I never regretted what I did to Stevens. It probably saved a lot of marriages. One of my more effective good deeds. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and of course subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories like this one. And make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.